Okay. Sue Moroney.
Mr Chair, I just do want to say at the outset that all this talk of PCBUs and being reasonably practicable and all these sorts of things are important. I know that for the public who are listening, it might sound awfully technical, but this is about getting the legalities right about health and safety in the workplace, and doing that in Part 2 is incredibly important. But I do want to cut to the chase around Part 2 and ask some serious questions of the Minister, because I think it comes down to the practicalities, and I want the Minister to just reflect on Clause 30, which is the primary duty of care that the PCBUs must undertake. And I want to put some scenarios to him, because these are the scenarios that really make a difference in the workplace. And the first one is to do with Clause 33 C, which says that the PCBU must ensure, so far as is reasonably practicable, the provision and maintenance of safe systems of work. And the situation I want to put to him is this. In the forestry industry, many of us believe that one of the main drivers of bad health and safety practices is a system of work where the remuneration is set up so that employees get paid by the number of logs that they fell rather than by the hour. And it is the view of some of us, certainly it's my view, that this drives very bad health and safety practices, because what it means is it puts pressure on the workers to work at a faster rate than may be safe, because that is the only way that they can make a decent living. And certainly, I believe that Debbie McMillan is in the gallery tonight, and certainly that was part of the story that she told me about the death of her husband, Shane Frater, when he died in a forestry accident. That what I think they call it piece rate, the piece rate way of operating in the forestry industry was a main driver of bad health and safety practices. So the question I'm posing to the Minister is, can a PCBU who operates that sort of system at work, are they compliant with clause, that part of the Act that I just read out, 33C? Because I would hope the answer is no. And I would also put it to him, and this is going to be a little contentious, but this is the serious nature of workplace health and safety. Will an employer who uses another piece of legislation that's been passed by his government quite recently, who has actually negotiated with workers that they don't take their tea break, but instead get some payment for it instead, or the chocolate fish or the extra muffin or whatever recompense they've negotiated, are they complying with that piece, with this part in the Act? Can the PCBU negotiate their way out of providing a tea break or a lunch break for workers, which in my view is actually a fundamental piece of good workplace health and safety, and be compliant with this part of the Act? I'm really concerned to see that the government whips are taking closure motions while we've still got these very serious and reasonable questions on the table for the Minister to answer.
Order. Closure motions have been dealt with by the Chair, and I don't want to anticipate, I don't want to have debate on them even before they happen. It might indicate the members are running out of things to say about the bill.
Mr Chair, it's no such indication. It's an indication that I want it taken very seriously by this House, that there are reasonable questions on the table for the Minister to answer that he hasn't had an opportunity to answer yet, and that I hope in all seriousness will be answered by this Minister, because this is cutting to the chase now of whether this section is going to be practical in terms of dealing with health and safety issues. Earlier, I think the Minister might not have been in the chair at the time, but I asked some serious questions around a number of other industries and whether that would apply as well, and other workplace practices. For example, in Pike River Mine, where we did see, and I know this happens in lots of other workplaces, bonuses being offered to workers in order for them to undertake unsafe practices, to complete projects in an unsafe way at speed, and to be offered bonuses. In the instances of Pike River Mine, what we know was that workers were offered bonuses of $10,000 if they completed a project in a certain period of time, and for every week that went by that the project was not completed, they lost $2,500 of their bonus. Now, those sorts of practices